Boker Tov. Today's Daf Yomi is Yevamos 86, Yevamos Pei Vav. But we're going to start at the Mishnah on the bottom of Pei Hey Mabez, the Mishnah at the bottom of 85b. So our Mishnah is going to, our Mishnah is a little bit of a review, but then it adds in new laws about a Levite. So our Mishnah has already told us, we've already studied in our tractate, that when a woman who is not the daughter of a Kohen, is betrothed to a Kohen, even though biblically speaking she could eat from the Truma, rabbinically speaking we don't allow her to eat from the Truma. Gemara elsewhere tells us two reasons. One of the reasons is because we're worried that since she's still living in her parents' home, she might take from the Truma and give it to one of her brothers. We're not allowed to eat it. Alternatively, since they're only betrothed, then maybe the husband will find something blemish with her, and he'll say that retroactively the marriage was under false pretenses and it'll be invalidated. Also, if she's pregnant from the Kohen, we had said earlier that it's not enough for her to eat from the Truma because the fetus does not allow her to eat from the Truma under those circumstances. And the Gemara is going to apply these principles to the case of a Levite. So a Truma is something that is food given to the Kohen. In addition to the Truma, the ties to the Kohen, there's also Meiser, which is given to the Levite. So under these circumstances, let's look at the Mishnah. Let's say you have the daughter of an Israelite who is betrothed to a Kohen. Let's say you have the daughter of an Israelite who is betrothed to a Kohen. Or we say Muberes mi Kohen. Or let's say she's pregnant from a Kohen, or Shomeres Yavam a Kohen, or she is Shomeres Yavam to the Kohen, or else she is waiting for Yibam from a Kohen. Also a daughter of a Kohen to an Israelite. All these circumstances, all these circumstances that she's not able to eat the truma. And like we said, this is a review of laws that we've already learned in the tractate. But now we say Bas Yisrael Mureses Levi. This is something new. We haven't discussed this. Let's say you have a regular Jewess who is betrothed to a Levi, or Muberes mi Levi, or she's pregnant from the Levi, or Shemeres Yavam or Levi, or she's waiting for Yibam from the Levite. Bas Levi Yisrael, also the daughter of a Levite to a Yisrael, such a woman is not able to eat from the Meiser, and the Gemara is going to ask why. But the Meiser, we said, is usually reserved for the Levites, so we'll see why she can't eat from the Meiser. But then we have this last case, Mureses LaKohen, or Bas Levi, a daughter of a Levite, who is Mureses LaKohen, who is betrothed to the Kohen, or who is Muberes LaKohen, or she's pregnant from the Kohen, or she's Shomeres Yavam LaKohen, or she's Shomeres Yavam to the Kohen. All those circumstances, Bas Kohen LaLevi, all these cases, she can't eat from the Truma or the Meiser, and the Gemara is going to explain why. So first of all, the Gemara analyzes the second case. We say that a woman who is betrothed to the Levite, she can't eat from the Meiser. She can't eat from the tithe that's typically given to the Levite because she's a non-Levite and she's just betrothed. The Gemara says, but so what? V'tei Zara, right? She's a non-Levite. Big deal. Zara milo alcha b'Meiser. But so she's a non-Levite. So what? Why can't the non-Levite? She's a Zara. Why can't she eat the Meiser? What's the reason why she can't eat the tithe? So the Gemara says, you're right. This is a dispute whether or not a non-Levite is allowed to eat from the tithe. Who's a dispute? Rav Nachman, Rav Shmuel, Hamani, Rabbi Meir. This is the opinion of Rabbi Meir, who says Meiser Rishon Asar Lazarim. So this is the opinion of Rabbi Meir, who says that the Meiser Rishon, that the Meiser Rishon, this tithe, is not allowed to be eaten by a non-Levite. Titania, because we learned in the Brisa, what is it? Oh wait, I want to say at the very beginning, I want to say that today's Daf Yomi, and also all the learning we're doing today, is sponsored by Aviva and Mordechai Weissman in memory of the Yortzeit of Aviva's mother, Freda Behrens, and Aviva's father, Cyril Behrens, and it's also sponsored by Bruce Ray in memory of his mother. So we wanted the Yortzeit of his mother. So we wanted to point that out at the beginning.
Thank you.
Okay, sure, of course. So thank you. So the Gemara says as follows. The Gemara says, the Tanya, we have the Brisa on top of 86a. What does the Brisa say? The Brisa says, Truma l'Kohen u'Maiser Rishon l'Levi, that the Truma goes to the Kohen and the Meiser Rishon goes to the Levi, and presumably not to a non-Kohen or non-Levi. The Meiser Rishon cannot be given to a non-Levi. That's the position of Rabbi Meir. So it seems like our Mishnah is following the position of Rabbi Meir, whereas Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah matiro Kohen. He says Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah allows the Kohen to eat from the tithe, the Meiser. The Gemara says matiro mikal the ika manda. So you mean somebody else prohibits it? Ela ema knows no after Kohen. He would even give it to the Kohen. Initially, the tithe wouldn't only have to be given to the Levite, it could also be given to the Kohen. Gemara says, my time in Rabbi Meir. What's the reason why Rabbi Meir says that the tithe only goes to the Levite and it can only be eaten by a Levite? So the Gemara says, the reasoning for Rabbi Meir is, Amar Avacha Berei de Rava Mishmei the Gemara. His tradition is because it's based upon the verse, because it says, Ki es ma'aser b'nei Yisrael asher yarimu Hashem truma. The tithe of the children of Israel that they separate for truma. Ma truma asur zarim. Just like truma is something that's prohibited for a non-Kohen to eat. Av meiser rishon asur zarim. So to this tithe, to the Levites, called the meiser, is prohibited to a non-Levite to eat. The Gemara says, well, since we're comparing them, ima truma chayavano of misa v'chomesh. Maybe other laws, just like truma, you're liable for death, and if you eat it accidentally, you have to pay it back plus add 1/5. Av meiser chayavano of misa. Maybe also by Meiser. Verse no, we're not going to say that because it says Amakra by the Truma it says those who eat it will die, and those who eat it accidentally have to add 1/5 upon it. Means to say that these laws apply only to the Truma, not to the Meiser. The Rabbanan, according to the rabbis who say that a non-Levite is allowed to eat from the Meiser. What do they learn from that verse? They learn from the verse that says, they learn to teach us just like the truma, before you separate the truma, the food is called tevel, meaning you're not allowed to eat from it. So to the Meiser Rishon, before you separate from it, you're not allowed to. Before you separate the Meiser, you're not allowed to eat from the food. Look at the Tanya, and like we learned in the Brisa, Rabbi Yossi taught Yachol Yechayev Elal Tevel Shal Hurmi Menakol Ikar. Rabbi Yossi taught, I might think you're only liable for Tevel, which you have not separated anything from it. But Hurmi Menu Truma Gedolah Hurmi Menu Meiser Rishon Meiser Rishon Hurmi Meiser Sheni Vafil Meiser Ani Minayin. How do we know that the food is called tevel, even if you didn't separate truma, of course, meiser sheni, meiser ani, all the tithes. If you don't separate it, you can't eat from it at all. It says you can't eat it wherever you eat it, meaning to say, and later on it states by the meiser sheni that you could eat it in your gates. So this teaches us and just like later on when it says Bisharecha refers to the Meiser Ani, that you can't eat it unless you take the tithe. The Gemara says, and Gemara says, and if we want to just learn out from that case, from the case of the verse that Rabbi Yossi cited, I might have thought that there's only prohibition. But you don't get death if you eat from the food that was not tithed for the Meiser Ani. So we say no, that's not the case. Then you do Kamash Malan. So that's what the Rabbanan learned from the verse of Rabbi Yossi, and so therefore the Rabbanan's position in summary is like Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah, that it's allowed to be eaten that you're allowed to give it to the Kohen, the Meiser, but also they're also of the opinion that a non-Levite is allowed to eat from the Meiser. So Lishnachri, an alternative version of this discussion is Meiser Rishon the Tavo Midu Rabbi Yossi Nachla, that they were asking this as a question. Meiser Rishon, that if you have the food and you have not taken the Meiser from it, that it's Tevo. We learn that from Rabbi Yossi. Why are the Rabbanim learning it out from this pasuk? Meiser b'nei Yisrael Yarimu Hashem. So the Gemara explains, if it was just from Rabbi Yossi, I would just say that it's just a regular prohibition. And when we need both verses. So the Gemara says, okay, let's go back to the Mishnah for a moment, because when we go back to the Mishnah, B'mayo Kimta, what did you say our Mishnah is referring to? Rabbi Meir, he said our Mishnah is referring, and when our Mishnah says that a daughter of a Levite cannot eat from if she's the daughter of a Yisrael is betrothed to a Levite, she cannot eat from the Meiser, because it follows Rabbi Meir's position, who says, what does the Rabbi Meir say? The Meir says that a non-Levite cannot eat from the Meiser. Non-Levite or non-Kohen cannot eat from the Meiser. But so Gemara says, "Mayu kimtek Rabbi Meir." But what's the next clause? It says, "Bas Levi mureses Kohen and Bas Kohen Levi lo tochal lo b'truma lo b'Meiser." So it says that the daughter of a Levite who's betrothed to a Kohen, she can't eat from the truma or the Meiser. But why not? She's either a Levite or a Kohen under those circumstances. So for sure, she should be able to eat from the Meiser. Why do you say she can't eat from it? What's the Zaras element? She's either a Kohen or a Levi, and she could eat from it. So that's the problem with this explanation by attributing our Mishnah to Rabbi Meir. It's the problem with Shmuel's explanation, with the explanation that Rabbi Nachman gave the name of Shmuel. So therefore, the Gemara says, so Amar Rav Sheishes comes back with a different explanation. My Eno Chaos, what does it mean? She cannot eat from the Meiser under those circumstances. What does it mean? The Katani ain't that. What does it mean when it says Eno Chaos? Eno no senes reshus l'trom. It means she does not have permission. It means Eno no senes reshus l'trom. It means she does not have permission to appoint an agent. If she's just betrothed, she does not have permission to appoint an agent to take a tithe. That's what it means. She does not have permission for her agent to take the tithe while she's betrothed, and then to separate from it Trumas Meiser. It's like she's taking the Truma without his knowledge, and that's not okay. So this teaches us the Nesua no senes rishus. This teaches us that if she'd be married, she would have permission to appoint an agent to take the tithes. Mar says, that is the case. Is that real? Tanya, we learned. It says you shall eat it in whatever place you are, you and your household. We made on the Suah Bas Yisrael, Shenosenes Rishus Latrom. This teaches us about a This teaches us about hold on one second. This teaches about somebody who's married, she's a daughter of a regular Jew who's married to a Kohen, and she has permission to appoint an agent to take the tithe. Does she have permission to appoint an agent, or maybe only to eat? So we say Amras Truma Chamura Ochalas Meiser Akol Kol Shakin. So if she can eat the Truma, for sure she can eat the Meiser. So we made on the Suah, therefore it's teaching us that the woman who is the daughter of an Israelite who is married to the Kohen has permission to appoint an agent to take the tithe. Marbrei Duravina gives another explanation of our Mishnah. Now, what does it mean when it says that the daughter of the Levite who is betrothed to the Kohen, she can't eat from the Meiser? It means that we don't give her the Meiser and the threshing floor. Why not? So the Gemara says, well, makes sense. Maybe we're concerned that she's going to be secluded out there in the field with the farmer, and we don't like that. But according to the one who says this is a dispute, we're going to get this on Daf Kuf. But according to one who says, what's the reason why she doesn't get it is because Mishum Grusha, is because we're worried that she's really been divorced from her husband and the farmer doesn't know, and she's just going to pass herself off. If according to that logic, Grusha Bas Kohen Milo Acho Betruma. So if she would be just divorced from and the daughter of a Kohen, she could eat from the Truma. So the reason is Alexander Mishum Grusha Bas Yisrael. They were concerned that she was the daughter of a Jew and she was divorced and she was married to the Kohen, and then she had lost the right to eat the Truma. So the Gemara says, well, what does it matter if she was just betrothed? Even if she was fully married, she could, and then divorced, nobody would know. So it should be the same concern. So the Gemara says, you're right. You're right. The point is, we're just saying betrothed because that's what we said in the first clause. But really, if she's married also, she can't go out to the threshing floor and get the truma because she might have been divorced and nobody knew about it. Now we're going to talk about the general question of who you give the truma to, and who you give the meiser to. Tana Rabbana, so the Brisa says truma kohen umeiser rishon levi. So the rabbis thought that the truma goes to the kohen, and the meiser rishon goes to the levi. Meiser rishon goes to the Levite. We are studying now the book about Midbar, which begins by telling us the responsibilities of the Levites. And so here we're saying that the Meiser was the tithe given only to the Levites. That's the position of Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Akiva is in the position also that a non-Levite cannot eat from it, or a non-Levite are Kohen. Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah says, now we're on top of 86b. Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah taught, L'Kohen, v'lo Levi. So the Gemara says that the Meiser Rishon, you give it to the Kohen. The Gemara says, L'Kohen, v'lo Levi, no, it means Ema Afa Kohen. So Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah says, no, you could give the Meiser not only to the Levite, but even to the Kohen. So the Gemara says, my time with Rabbi Akiva. What's the reason why Rabbi Akiva says you give the Meiser only to the Levite? Because it states, V'alavim to daber, Hamar to'oleihem. The verse states, to the Levites you shall speak, and you shall say to them, when you take from the children of Israel the Meiser. So only the Levites get the Meiser. The verse is referring to the Levites, and that's why only the Levites get the Meiser. The Idach, whereas Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah says, "Kid Rabbi Shua ben Levi." He follows Rabbi Shua ben Levi, who says, "There are 24 places in the Bible where it says Leviim, and it really refers to the Kohanim. And this is one of them, because it states "Kohanim Leviim b'nei tzadok." It says in Yechezkel, it refers to the Kohanim as the Leviim b'nei tzadok. So therefore, even though it says give it to the Levites, it also, according to Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi, it also refers to the Kohanim. Rabbi Akiva says "Achelu matzos amros." Here you can't say that that's what it's referring to, because it says "V'achaltam also b'kol makom," and you shall eat it in any place where you are, which means Misha yachol achol b'kol makom yatzakoin she'en yachol achol b'beisek first. The verse says you give it to somebody who can eat it wherever they are. That excludes the Kohanim because they can't eat the Meiser in the cemetery. Whereas Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi / Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah says, no. What does this mean? What does it mean? You can eat it even any place where it doesn't require the walls of Jerusalem. That's where you can eat this Meiser sheni. And furthermore, lucky. And if you eat it with while you yourself are tamei, you don't get lashes. So that's what Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi and Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah learned from that verse. But anyway, we see from here the fundamental dispute between Rabbi Akiva, who says that the Meiser goes to the Levite, and Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi, who says Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi and Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah, who says it goes also to the Kohen. So the Gemara says in this context, the story, there was a farmer, there was a garden, Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah, who was a Kohen, was taking the Meiser from it, even though Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah was not a Levite, he was a Kohen. Also, Rabbi Akiva was upset, he didn't want this, so he closed up the entrance to the garden, and he made the entrance to the garden by a cemetery, which Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah can't get through. So Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah said, Amar Akiva b'tarmilo v'anachai. He says, look, Rabbi Akiva is still a shepherd, and I'm living strong. Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah is very wealthy. He said, Rabbi Akiva can prevent me from getting this Meiser, but he's still way poorer than me. He's stuck being a shepherd, whereas I still got plenty of fields. So Gemara now, Rashi says it's not really referring to this discussion, it's referring to another discussion which we have in Sota and in the Chulin, which says that another reason why the Levites did not get the Meiser where it was given to the Kohen was because the Levites were penalized for not going up during the days of Ezra, and so therefore they were punished. And so that's what this Gemara is referring to, because the Gemara wants to ask a question on it from the fact that Rabbi Akiva changed the location of the entrance into the garden and put it by a cemetery. So the Gemara introduces this. Why were the Levites penalized that they stopped getting the Meiser as a tithe? One, it says, Ezra. One says the reason is because they didn't go up in the days of Ezra. And so therefore they were penalized that they do not get the Meiser. Whereas the other opinion was because we want the Kohanim to rely upon them. We want the Kohanim to have food to eat while they are in their days of Tumah. While they're Tumah, they can't eat the Truma. So therefore they have to eat something so they can eat the Meiser. It makes sense. The ones who say that they didn't go up, the Levites didn't go up, so we penalize them and take their tithe and give it to the Kohanim. But according to the approach that says we want the Kohanim to rely upon them in their state of Tumah, Mishim Kohanim Kansinu Levim, because of the Kohanim, we're going to penalize the Levites. Mishim Kohanim Kansinu Levim, because of the Kohanim. Why are we going to? Because we want the Kohanim to have food to eat. So therefore, why would we have to take it from the Levites? What they do wrong? So the Gemara says, okay, you're right. Everybody says the Levites were penalized. They didn't go up in the days of Ezra. This is the argument. So one is of the position that the Levites, when they were penalized, the money went, the tithe went to the poor people. One says no, the Kohanim, when they're ritually impure and they can't eat the truma, they are poor. So therefore they get the tithe because they are poor. So and this is what Rabbi Akiva said to Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah. This is why he moved the entrance to the garden and put it by a cemetery. He said to him, he said, if you're trying to collect this meister because you said the Levites are penalized, islacha. Because fine, then you get the money. But either ka'asis, v'toras charuka. But if you're gonna come and take it because you say I'm a Kohen and I get it, leislach, because then you don't have a right to it. And so therefore he moved the entrance. How do we know the Levites didn't go up in the time of Ezra? More explains because it says v'akabtzema on nahar, because it states v'akabtzema on nahar abaf and nachana sham yamim shlosha. That Ezra said, I gathered, that it says in the book of Ezra, I gathered them. It says that I gathered them up. I gathered them up to the river, and it says, and we camped there for 3 days, and the children of Levi did not come. And so we see that they were penalized. So that's why the Levites were penalized, that they lost the Meiser because they didn't show up. So Amar Rav Chisda, at first, the only time we put the officers in was from the Levium, as it states Shotrim Levium with Nechem. So at first the Levites were the officers. But now we penalize the Levites. So that we appoint officers only from the regular Jews. So basically, the Levites not only lost the right to get the Meiser, they also lost the right to be the officers of the people. And it's all because they didn't come up during the time of Ezra. They didn't return to the land and make Aliyah. Yeah, if anybody has any questions, I'll be happy to address them.